What do you guys want to talk about?
It's St. Louis.
Welcome to the A-Train Show. And now here's your host, the A-Train, Arlington Lane.
Yeah, true chatter. Yeah, I think it's time for more true chatter. Born every day, 100 new fake rappers. We got too many powers, too many actors. But us brothers only good for entertainment.
Welcome to this edition of the A-Train Show, the A-Train Arlington Lane. Grateful to have you here on Fuel Sports Network. Thank you to our great friends over at Philip Johnson Salon and Spa. Also, our friends over at Macdougall Bats, one of the best wooden bats you may ever purchase. And as always, folks, we are on fuelsportsnetwork.com. You can always check us out on X, currently live at Fuel Sports Net on X. And then if you have any questions you want to send in to any of our programs, admin at fuelsportsnetwork.com. All right. Let's get into the conversation today here on the A-Train Show. Good Reverend Doctor be here on Friday. And got a special guest coming in on Friday as well. It's going to pertain to when we talk about with wrestling for our Fun Friend Friday, does some content. You'll see that in the next couple of days as we get closer to that day. All right. Let's start with the Dodgers and Yankees World Series. So far, since the last time we spoke, Dodgers have now gone up. They're up 3-1 with another game in the Bronx on tonight. Game 5, I think they are bringing up Jack Flaherty to start in Game 5 after Yankees finally put together a implosion of runs. 11-4 was the final. I wanted to see the Yankees get swept. I really did. But I heard it's not good for baseball business type crap. That it wasn't good for business if they chose to go that route. And I'm like, I do not care. I don't. This is one of those times you just want to see the Yankees implode. You want to see them just fall flat on their freaking faces. You just want to see the looks of despair, and you just want to see everything really happen worse to New York, especially with a team like the Yankees. And they have a great lineup. Not to mention, the fact that Anthony Volpe and Gleyber Torres both hit grand slams in the game. I don't think that's ever really happened where one team hit 2 grand slams in a World Series game. But you got to sort of applaud that for some odd apparent reason. But here we are. One person I have to single out in this series is one Frederick Charles Freeman. And the reason why I say that is because, one, he's the first player in Major League history to hit a home run in 4 straight World Series. He's done it in 6, but in 1 World Series, he's done it in the first 4 games of a World Series. That is the only player to ever do that. Doesn't matter what you throw at Freddie Freeman, he's going to find a way to hit the ball. And he's doing this on one bad ankle. One ankle, a good one. And he's been able to hit the ball wherever, where I can't. Let me not say that. I will say this, that if you throw it on the inside corner, throw it on the inside, you throw it middle in, he's going to crank it. It's been to the outside where he's been able to miss. That means more more changeups, more curve balls on the outside. He swings at them. But I don't seem to understand why Aaron Boone continues to pitch to Freddie Freeman. And what I have garnered from this World Series is that he's given me Mike Matheny of 2013 vibes. And you're like, what do you mean, A-Train? I will gladly tell you. If I'm not mistaken, David Ortiz has the highest batting average in a World Series at 688. Yeah, that's right. 688. What man do you know gets a hit 69% of the time? He was 11 of 16. No doubtedly was the World Series MVP in 2013. Granted, it did go 6 games. And I remember going back and forth with Rob Knox, who was my special guest on last Wednesday. And I was sitting back. I was like, Boone is doing the same thing here with Freeman. And it doesn't matter who they throw at him, he is knocking the ball. And I'm like, are you serious right now? Like, you're going to pitch to him regardless. So that means something tells me stupidly he's going to do it again in the first inning of Game 5 when he goes out there again. Like, if there's a man on base, you walk him. You got 4 games. Exactly, Sabrina, Big Poppy. 4 games. You've seen this dude. Each time he has come up to the plate in one of those games, he's hit a home run. Granted, Game 1, he hit the walk-off grand slam. But you haven't got enough of Freddie Freeman, is what you're telling me? I get it. There is more to this team, but you got to slow down something. And granted, they did get the win yesterday, so I guess they did something right. But right now, this man is giving me Mike Matheny vibes, man. And the reason why I say that, because in 2013, if I'm not mistaken, did they go down 3-0? No, they didn't. They were down 2-1 because of that Colton Wong base running error, miscue, and all that. And it led to them winning the game somehow. But I know they were down 3-1 after the 4th game. And so I'm sitting here looking at this. I'm like, you steadily pitching to this guy. It doesn't matter who you throw a left-hander or right-hander at him, he's still gonna hit the ball. And that's what I'm seeing here in this series with the LA Dodgers, man. And I'm like, you just not gonna walk them, right? You're just gonna steadily pitch to him. Oh, you just think this one ankle is keeping him balanced, right? You're just thinking that everything that he got going on in this series just seems like, oh, he's gonna miss at some point. 4 home runs in the World Series, first 4 games. He's now broken the record for most consecutive games with a home run in the World Series. It dates back to his time in 2021 with the Atlanta Braves. And I remember that series because that was Dusty's first series with the Houston Astros after becoming the manager. He'd been the manager for a couple of years by then. And I was really hoping they was going to get past Atlanta, but Atlanta was just too strong. And beating them badly like they did in that sixth game in Houston was just it was just ridiculous. But he got Atlanta another World Series flag to go along with the other one that they had from 1995. So um, I don't know. I don't know anymore, man. Like it's got to be something better here with what you're gonna do with Freddie Freeman. Speaking of the World Series, um, yesterday Mookie Betts was out getting a foul ball, and I want you to meet this young man here. The picture that is Austin Campobianco in the middle. This is the gentleman that interfered uh, with Mookie Betts and literally took the ball out of his glove. And while the other fan, I don't think he's pictured here, grabbed his arm to keep him from securing the ball. Like that was the most dangerous thing I could have ever seen. And literally, you see what in the quote it says, if it's in our area, we're going to D up. That's what he said at a local bar when he talked with Jesse Rogers of ESPN. So that's courtesy of Jesse Rogers. Now, my thing with that is I don't give a damn what you do over there on that side, except that is part of the game. That's part of play. But when you grab a man's arm that's trying to make a play, now what if he had injured Mookie Betts? What if he injured Mookie Betts with his wrist? Yes, I understand he did not. But what if he did? I guarantee you a lot of hell would have came his way. Unwanted attention that he would have wanted. But right now he's being praised as a hero, even so much where the Yankees have said, we want you back for game 5. And that just shows me how much of a classless organization the New York Yankees really are. And listen, I have no dog in this fight because there's two teams that I do not really care for. But the reason I'm cheering for the Dodgers is because of the two Cardinals that are playing in the series right now. That's Jack Flaherty, the starter for game 5, and Tom Edman. But my thing is, when you have a situation like this, that's not okay. That is surely not okay. Like without question, that's just clown behavior. Nah, he won't be banned for it. Mm-mm. Not if you're getting an invite from the organization to come back again for game 5. Now, mind you, they did not give him tickets. Is what it's been said. They said they have invited him back. So that means he still has to pay for another ticket. Still have to pay for another ticket. Um, So some news just dropped 45 minutes ago. It says MLB has asked the Yankees to ban the two fans who interfered. Major League Baseball has now said they can't return. So that means they have gone over the top, which is what should be done here in the first place. That means they never can go back to the game again after the Yankees sat there and said they invited them back because they now are hailed as heroes because they kept the series alive. Now, what if they would have lost? Well, the Yankees were going to invite them? Hell no. They would have completely banned them because you cost us a World Series. But since they won a game, we invited them back. But Major League Baseball has stepped in and said, no, they can't come back. So I hope it was worth it. You can be hailed as a hero for one game. And I mean, honestly, I still had chose the Dodgers to win in 6 games anyway. But my thing is, with a moment like that, which it brings back the memories of Jeffrey Mayer in 1996. It reminds me of the Steve Bartman play in the 2003 NLCS, where fans are reaching over to be a part of the play. They want a foul ball because it's something that, for them to remember. But also at the same time, it is a memory that you do not want to be a part of. Uh, Granted, now the Cubs have won a World Series since then. The Baltimore Orioles have yet to reach a World Series since the '96 LCS. So yeah, there's a tale of two stories when that comes from that. All right, I'm going to take a time out. I might touch a little bit more about it, but I think there's really nothing else to talk about at this point. So I had a fan tell me that, or I heard a fan say on a show last night, I should be UFL commissioner. Should I be UFL commissioner? I don't know. Should I talk about it today, or should I talk about it on Friday when we have the Friday night extreme? We'll see what happens after the break, right here on the A Train Show, right here on Fuel Sports Network. We're back with this edition of the A Train Show, the A Train Arlington Lane. Big thanks to our friends over at Philip Johnson Salon and Spa and Macdougall Bats. We appreciate you so much, and Royal Retros and W Energy Powder, and forgive me for not mentioning them early, and Just Meat Jerky. All right. I want to touch a bit about this little A Train as UFL commissioner thing. Listen, just a little bit. I think the UFL can do a lot of great things. I really do. And I just wish that they were able to take some of the things that were in 2020, some of the things that were in 2023, and bring them to the forefront. If you're saying this is for the fans, then you need to make sure it's for the fans. That means you need more fan-oriented stuff for the UFL. Whether I'm seeing the events that the DC doing, I'm talking about, it doesn't need by the team. It needs to be done by the league itself. Teams don't need to be doing that. The league needs to do that. I probably can't handle the truth, Van. I probably couldn't at all, because that's a hard thing to take on. But at the same time, I would want to see growth in this league. I want to see it grow higher than it should be. Like seeing things like what the European League of Football has done, especially when it comes to an attendance. CFL is getting better. And granted, I love the fact that most of these players are returning next season for the UFL. That's a great sign as well. Paper is always a big thing, but also making sure that the players are safe, and scheduling is always going to be hell in a handbasket, because you got to make sure, and like it was stated, if you caught the B-Hog Live, return to B-Hog Live on last night, shout out to Spurge and Amanda. um you got what that's how about taking decisive action about the hits by players like Stephen Jones Jr.? Hey, like I said, it's a tall task. I get it. You want hard hitting action, right? You want a great game. And for me, 2023 was great gameplay all around, because that was just the XFL. Now that it's a merger with the UFL, they decided to scale back. They wanted 4 teams on. Okay, cool. All right. This is what we have to live with now. Now we need to bring in some more teams, because there are players that are ready to play. But you need to pay them. You definitely need to pay them, because when you have guys like Donald De La Haye, aka Destroying, coming into play here, and he took a massive hit. Granted, people looked at him. I did look at him as a gimmick, and it probably was wrong with me, because I felt like he took somebody's spot. He took somebody's spot away that really is a knack for it. I get it. He wants to play the game of football. He wants to kick. He feels like he should be an NFL kicker, but also, sir, it's like deciphering between the two of who you are. Are you Destroying, or are you going to be Donald De La Haye, the kicker? And you want, my feeling is you want to intertwine the two, but you want to really play football. So if that's the case, then you got to train just as hard as everybody else. And they brought you in, the UFL brought you in, gave you a contract, took somebody's spot, and you get hurt in the second game of the season. Not okay whatsoever. And my belief was, how much did he really want to be a part of it? And he came out and said that he wants to be a part of this, that his career is not done. All right, then show us for real, man. I just need to know that you're real about this stuff. Because like I said before, there are guys that want to be in the league, and they push hard to do it. They will fight, they'll bleed, they will push themselves just to get a roster spot in the NFL. And those that know me, I would literally take the UFL away from the NFL. I don't want it nowhere near. So if I was the commissioner, I'd have broke the partnership with the NFL. I don't want nothing to do with you. Because I'm making that a standalone league. I am going out, and the gameplay is going to be with the owners, getting owners of the league to come by and work with us. Now that you've seen the style of football that we have, we would love for you to be a part of it. And that way you can build your fan base as being owners of the UFL. Van says Fox Soul is now going to replay A7 football games from last season, yet Fox can't find schedule time for the 180 regular season game, or the 12 playoff and championship games that are stored in the cloud. Instant 24-hour stream exposure with revenue potential for them advertising. I like that idea, that you can have, especially with a streaming channel. I get Fox Soul is that, like, if they were to do because I'm seeing networks pop up everywhere, streaming wise, a UFL based network, a streaming network. Listen, just to replay all the games, all the network games, the UFL, the XFL, the USFL. It's just a network just going back and replaying all those games. There are tons of games that can be replayed. And trust me, you'll miss out and you're going to want to go back and see them again. There's nothing wrong with that. If we can have MLB do it, granted, I understand MLB has been a over 100-year entity. Same thing with the NFL, right? But the NFL, they don't, they have their own network, so they can do that. In MLB, they have their own network as well. And there's an opportunity where you can go back and play all of those games. Like you have to go back and try and find them and wanting to watch them again. And that's tough. That's tough to check out, seriously. But if I was the UFL commissioner, we're finding ways to get with ownership. And I know that's probably the thing they're doing now, but they're taking their time to do it. I kind of wish they went back to the old 80s plan with the USFL and just took it from there. USFL in the 80s wasn't exactly, they do. USFL had a plan where owners were a part of the league. It wasn't a single entity, but I find that that's cheaper these days. And I don't know. I always believed in go big or go home, right? So in this case, I would have reached out to local I guess local millionaires or so, those that are that have a lot of money that would love to get into professional football, those that, you know, trying to get in the NFL can't do it right now. But find it in a league to say, hey, we believe in what you have and we would love to be a part of that. I don't know. I might get into more detail with that with my co-host Spurge, but we'll see as that progresses into the future. All right, take one more time out, and then I'm gonna touch a little bit. I'm gonna do a short show today. I'm not gonna be out long, probably no more than 40 minutes. I was gonna do 30, but I didn't pass that up. I got more I want to talk about. All right, so I'm gonna take a quick commercial break, and then I'm gonna come right back with more of the A Train Show right here on Fuel Sports Network. Stay close. We're back on this edition of the A Train Show, the A Train Arlington Lane. Just got a piece of information that came into my phone a little while ago. These are attendances from classics in HBCU community. So shout out to my HBCU community. Yeah. Drew Carey was one of my favorites. Yeah. Involved ownership, it does. But I want to give a shout out to our HBCU community, and have a lot of classics, you know, games between rivals that they bark and have big attendances. One that's coming up at the end of next month is the ever popular Bayou Classic. But from what I received, and I'm kind of surprised with the number that I got. The Alabama State Alabama A&M game, which is the Magic City Classic that just happened. Let's say Wednesday, 4 days ago, said 69,125 tickets were sold. But the attendance was 69,125. I think that's tickets sold in my opinion. Because if you look at Legion Field in Birmingham, Alabama, where UAB used to play, where for the longest time it was the home of the Iron Bowl. That's a 71,000 seat stadium. I can't believe it. I watched the game on ESPN. Shout out to ESPN, to Tiffany Green and Jay Walker for doing the game. I have a little bit to bicker about that, but I'm not. I'm gonna leave that alone for now. Going to leave it alone because I really want to go after ESPN. Listen, I love Tiffany Green. I love Jay Walker, but can we switch it up a little bit? Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Tiffany Green is a great play-by-play broadcaster. Heard her work doing the WNBA, but Jay Walker is the only. He can't be the only man to do those games. He can't be. And if they only got two, then I'm blaming ESPN because I think they need more coverage. Big ups to HBCU Go, which is a company from, which is part of the Byron Allen's company, his entertainment company. And I've heard John Kelly, formerly of Extra. He has the show Funny You Should Ask on in syndication right now. I've been hearing his voice on telecast and HBCU Go. I've seen A&M games featured there too. You see, okay, so you understand what I'm saying, Sabrina, that he's not the only one. Like, that Jay Walker can't be the only cat that's out there. And like I said, Tiffany Green is great as a broadcaster, like fantastic. Her to work with WNBA and covering women's college sports, fantastic. Even the collegiate game, she's there, But I'm like, them two cannot be the only people that we get for these games. Fine, I'll take RG3. He did the legacy, he did the game, but he's not with ESPN anymore, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think he's with that. See, and that had to be an ESPN thing. And like I said, I mentioned the HBCU Go thing, and they were, they were doing, the games and stuff. Yeah, see, back to Van's thing. RG3, he's not a part of ESPN anymore. Got fired a couple months ago. Nah, I'm good. So, I mean, if anything, he can go to HBCU Go and work there and do his thing there. Me personally, I was a big fan of Charlie Neal. Charlie Neal was a fantastic broadcaster, and I got to work with him and Eddie Robinson about 20 years ago, back when I used to work for the Southwest Athletic Conference as an intern. Got a chance to do the Magic City Classic with them, and that was fun. That was a really fun job, and crazy as kept. Anytime I did a game with the SWAC, ESPN paid me. I got a check from Disney. And that was like the coolest thing ever. It was just a couple hours a day, and they would send me over a paper check because I worked. And but the thing was, they were, for years, it was like that was just them. And I'm like, I know there's more broadcasters out there that could do these games, that HBCU could get more love. I get it. Jackson State was that when Deion Sanders came over there, and a lot of people wanted to cover their games to give them more exposure. But back to these classics, Norfolk State and Howard, 31,876. South Carolina State, Delaware State, 22,169. Florida A&M versus Southern, 1647. Prairie View, I know I got my people in PV. Texas A&M Commerce, 13,937. North Carolina Central versus Morgan State, 13,910. Arkansas Pine Bluff, Mississippi Valley State 12,437. Jackson State Bethune-Cookman 11,989. So they're getting over 10,000. But that number, that 69,000 number, kind of shocked me because I listen. That game is for the state of Alabama in the HBCU community. Grambling and Southern is that for Louisiana. You got to think about it. That has storied histories all along. You think about the name Eddie Robinson when you think of Grambling, right? You think of for Alabama A&M, you think of the names of Robert Mathis, John Stallworth. And if I please don't get on me if I disrespect your school, okay? If I don't think of nobody like right off the top. Mississippi Valley State, of course, with Jerry Rice. Savannah State with Shannon Sharp. Said, would you like any of those numbers at Stallion games? No, thank you. Because I think I know those numbers and I could get them from Corey if I need to. Shout out to Corey Helvey, man, who, had did his thing with the Birmingham Stallions for tickets and stuff. And even with that, Van, you mentioned about the Stallion games. I just hated the fact that they chose to do one side of the field just because of television purposes. Like when they did St. Louis, because I think what I'm getting a disconnect is you got cities like, okay, Memphis was dealing with construction with their stadium, so one side, so that's understandable. Then you had Birmingham, who has a full brand new stadium, a newer venue. They didn't have to go to Legion Field to go play. They have Protective Stadium, 40,000, one side of the field. And I have to believe that was a UFL decision. Open up the stadium. Just open it up. Even if you guys sell tickets for $5 freaking, open up the stadium. You want to see it full. You want to see it. You want to see that these fans can get behind. Since we bringing this back up, you want to see fans get behind the product. And it wasn't a bad product, especially if you think about the game between Birmingham and St. Louis. It was fantastic. It went wire to wire, and only one side of the field got to see it. Open it up. It was a time where AJ McCarron was coming back to Alabama, and there's ways to build this game up. It does, man. All those HBCU games did exceed Stallions. And are we saying we should play the UFL in the fall? If you do that, that means you're going against the NFL, which could lead to issues and stuff. You don't want to do that unless you have a product that can. It shouldn't take away from fans, but you're also going against college football. That was the problem with the UFL from 2009 to 2012. People forgot about there was a UFL prior to this. This ain't the first time the United Football League ever came across. There was a United Football League from 2009, 2012, featured the first black commissioner in sports history with Michael Hugh. And so they had six teams, I think 6, 7, 8 teams, and they were on low networks like CBS. What was that? They had HDNet, then CBS Sports Network, something like that. You couldn't catch it. It was hard to catch. Couldn't get a big major sports deal out of it. Maybe, sir, next year. The inaugural IFA game is Tampa versus the Alabama Beavers in Joe Davis Stadium. They redone Joe Davis Stadium and turned it into a soccer field / football field now. So, interestingly enough, and I think Fuel Sports Network will be there for those games. I think. I don't quite know just yet. I have a feeling that we will be making our presence felt in Huntsville, Alabama for those Alabama Beaver games. But back to the whole thing with the UFL back 15 years ago, they were playing on Thursday and Friday night in the fall. See, this is before the Thursday night game became as popular as it is now. But you were going against the NFL. There was no way that that league was going to survive because you're going against the conglomerate. And there is a place for spring football. There is a place for spring football. Is that really a schedule overlap? That, you know what? I find that very interesting that it's a overlap. And Huntsville to Birmingham is like what? 2.5 hours, 3 hours away. If that, I don't even think it's that. But from that venue to Protective Stadium is a little longer. I know when you get to Huntsville, you have to go down 65, and you have to go. I can't think of it off the cuff. Like you going to the Rocket City Space Center and stuff like that. I can't. Is that five? That ain't 565. No. My Alabama people, where y'all at? Because I'm trying to figure this out. The NASA Rocket and Space Center. Let's see where we at on the map. I was right. 565. Okay. 100-mile stadium to stadium. There you go. You're going to drive 100 miles to check both games out. As long as they ain't I don't think they're at the same time, right? May 31st, 2025. What day? Oh, it is a Saturday. Yeah. Let's see how that one works. Let's see how that one works. Hopefully it's not a. Let's see if that's an overlap. Is that leading to April to June, right? Is what this season is looking like. Can we get the guys a bye week or something? The UFL commission, we got just 10 weeks of the season, 12 weeks total. So you want to get the season done as quick as possible. But my goodness, these guys who had injuries, they were piling up. Said just a league overlap, but the UFL schedule not posted yet. Okay. Can we get something? As in, I wasn't thinking of a league overlap, but I don't know. Kind of just lost my train of thought. Dang it! I hate when that happens. But I'm hoping for the bye week. I want a bye week. If I was UFL commissioner, I'm giving them at least a week to relax. Do 5 weeks bye week, then do the last 5 weeks, and then the teams in the playoffs, I give them a week, and then do another one. So what's that? That leads to what? 14 weeks. And then I would pay them during the bye week if it was me. Because they have to they throwing their bodies out there each week. A lot of them are really trying to get back. Yes, they really do need a larger footprint on the calendar. But they need time to heal. I get that the weeks go week to week and whatnot, and he's like, they just out there, just gonna let them play. Nah, man, these people need to heal. They human. They're not superhuman. We're not having gladiators. We call them gladiators and stuff, and they fighting week to week just to remain on the squad, man. They need time for healing. So maybe that's something they can orchestrate in the future if the schedule gets larger and the teams grow more. I always felt that 10 teams should have been how the league should have started to begin with. All right, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and do the hour because I got something to talk about in the last segment of the program. I want to touch a bit about the young quarterbacks in the NFL and how they're having a hard time making do, and why a certain individual on social media felt compelled to believe that Anthony Richardson, that TJ Watt shouldn't be criticized for something that Anthony Richardson did. The tweet has now been deleted, but I definitely still want to talk about it. Last part of the A-Train show right after this, right here on Fuel Sports Network. Back on this edition of the A-Train show, the A-Train Arlington Lane, final segment of the show. Make sure, folks, that you check us out at fuelsportsnetwork.com. Right there. Check us out on X, Fuel Sports Net. You can check us out on Facebook at Fuel Sports Network. We're at www.facebook.com/Fuel Sports Network 25, I think is where we're at now. And I do want to give a shout out to my good buddy AJ Jefferson on the show. Thank you to Sabrina and Sandy and the mayor of spring football, Van Hurst. I see Andrew's comment jumping in. Wasn't it last year St. Louis is going to get an IFL team soon? Who the hell knows? Because that was it was considered for AFL purposes that they were trying to get in on the Act 2, but of course the whole arena football situation is crazy. If you want to tune into some legit arena football games, you better check out the IFL. Real talk. I know Arena Football 1 is trying to get their act together, after breaking away from the AFL. So, I'm hoping all the best to the state of arena football, because it deserves a place in sports Americana. All right. So this comment that it kind of bothered me. The dude removed it. And this was about Anthony Richardson. He went on did a press conference and said my man said he was tired. And then the following week coming up, he's benched for Joe Flacco. And he went on and said that Anthony Richardson has been benched. Bryce Young has been benched. That was another piece of some crap that he said. His name was Sam Block. Anthony Richardson, bench 22. Bryce Young, bench 23. Trey Lance, bench 24. Justin Fields, 25, benched. Will Levis, 25, benched. Zach Wilson, 25, benched. Mac Jones, 26, benched. Kenny Pickett, 26, bench. That the NFL has a quarterback development problem. No, it's because most of these guys stink. That's what the problem is. Will Levis, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, Kenny Pickett. Justin Fields, I think he's not getting a fair shake. He's not getting a fair shake in Pittsburgh. Trey Lance, Bryce Young, the jury actually is still out on that. Granted, it's the Panthers. The Panthers did waste no time, so maybe there's something with that. With Anthony Richardson, they threw him into the mix because they were ready for him. They thought they were ready for him. Anthony, like, I'm not quite ready just yet. So if you want to say it's a quarterback development problem, I don't think it's entirely that, but because that he made that comment, there was a problem. Then you said TJ Watt he took himself out of the game. Let me get something straight. The quarterback is the number one position in football. Offense or defense, in my opinion. You're not going to look at TJ Watt the same as you will look at Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson is the leader of that group. They all live and die by what that quarterback does. Don't get me wrong. You need your defense. You need the defense. No question. There's leaders on the defense. But the head honcho, I think it was any given Sunday, the quarterback is the leader. And they follow that leader. And as much as I hate to even put it out there, it's the reason why Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs are doing so well. They lead by him. Right? And it's a reason why CJ Stroud is having success in Houston. It's because they are following him and they believe in him. And granted, sometimes it's the coaches. I get it. The coaches have the rights because Cliff Kingsbury is working with Jaden Daniels, and right now they're sitting on top of the NFC East, and which not too many people saw. I don't think it's a development problem. It's just that when you see what you see out there, that's true. Exactly. Jordan Love, Mahomes, Rodgers. Those are the guys that have sat down and just watched before their time was coming. So I don't think it's a development problem all the way. I think it's patience. And teams that are at an win now, that I need to win now status, throw them in there. Throw him in there. We need to see what he can do. Then we can figure out what we need to do thereafter. We'll label him bust, or we'll label him a bust if he's no good. And that's jacked up. That's the reason why the Tennessee Titans ain't doing so hot, because they got rid of their longtime quarterback, Ryan Tannehill. Felt like his days were done, so they had to go and find another quarterback. Granted, you should have went out and you went and got Mason Rudolph. He's a starter now, and let Will Levis work behind it. Granted, it didn't make any improvement, but Will Levis needed to watch. Same thing with Anthony Richardson. A lot of people were on him. He's not as good a quarterback as you think right now. He will be a star. It's just that he needs some time to sit and watch. And hopefully the development does come from back there. Kenny Pickett just was never any good to begin with, in my opinion. Mac Jones was never really good. They are good college quarterbacks. And you have them. You've had them for years. Case in point, Akili Smith. Remember that name? He was a great college quarterback. Didn't do nothing. Joey Harrington is another. Now you can sit back and say, well, they played for bad teams. Well, that's what the point of having, when you get drafted, they want you to make the team better. Put weapons around them, coaches, all of that. So if you want to sit here and say, okay, development is part of it, all right, cool, whatever. But some just stink just because they stink. Ryan Leaf, Jamarcus Russell is another example. But I don't know. I always look at it as, for Anthony Richardson's case, he shouldn't have said what he said, that he was tired, because they looking at him as the leader of this group. Wow. That's some news I ain't catch. How about the meltdown by the Las Vegas Kings? Flagged the IFA to AF1 to being scrubbed from all leagues references as of Tuesday. Asked for a $100,000 fan investment on social media is a death knell by any league. Yep, that sure is. Fan investment? Yeah, you're cooked. You're through. All right, I didn't want to take too much time. I guess I did. I made it through close to an hour. I didn't think I was going to be able to, but here we are. Thanks to everybody that tuned in to the program today. Friday, we're going to have some fun with some wrestling discussions, and got a special guest coming in, so stay tuned for that, okay? All right. Don't forget the Friday Night Extreme on Friday night at 6 p.m. And then one more time, the A-Train show for me at noon, 1 p.m. Eastern on Friday, all right? I'll see you then. Make sure you tune in to everything going on at Fuel Sports Network on Facebook, Twitter, getting the Instagram together, so bear with us on that, all right? I love y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. This is the A-Train signing off. I will catch you on Friday.